And we are live. Okay. Hopefully, we'll have people start trickling in shortly once we make the announcement here. And then I will start going into some stuff. Hey, Ross, can you hear me all right? Perfect. I will trust that you're handling the chat. Let's hopefully we get this rolling out. Stan should be posting up an announcement real quick. I appreciate you, Ross. I do. Just getting a couple things set up here. More viewers coming in. Slow roll of people coming in. Hey, okay, now we got people slowly trickling in. A couple of people. Welcome in. How's it going? How is launch for everybody? Everyone excited? I know we are. Hello. Welcome aboard. Yay! 15 people coming in. All right. Well, welcome everybody. I am extremely excited to be here. How does everything sound? This is the first time I'm using this setup. I want to make sure everyone can hear everything, everyone can see me messing around, moving through the pages. Everything is streaming okay. Beautiful. Awesome. All right. Well, so welcome aboard, everyone. Happy release. Super excited to finally get to show off some of the cool Foundry stuff that we have for you guys. Let me tell you what this is not going to be. I'm not going to show you how to install Foundry today. There are plenty of videos for that, or to how to set up port forwarding or anything like that. Again, plenty of people much smarter than me will have great videos on that. What I will show you today is we're going to actually go through installing your modules, and then we're going to look at some of them. We're going to build a character, and we're going to flip through a couple of fun pages, show off some fun features, and we're going to go over some of the recommended modules that I like to use and that we like to use to enhance your Foundry experience. So if you have any questions along the way, we have some people of the team, Sarah and Ross, are in the chat. I saw them there. They will hopefully be able to answer some questions. And if not, please head over to the Discord, the Metalworks Discord. That is our official Discord for covering Cosmere RPG on Foundry. With that said, let's start off by saying I know Brotherwise is still rolling out the official purchase the Cosmere products online. They will be up shortly. And if you already have your keys, you should be able to just put them into your account. And then once they are in your account, this is where you will find them. You come in here and you start with your game system. We're going to say install system, and we could search for Cosmere. And it's right here. You'll see I've already installed it, but there'll be a button here that just says install. That's all you have to do. Very simple. Once you've put your key in on the website, this is what you do. Click install. It'll run install. You'll see some bars go across in the back. It will install the system. Same deal with the modules. You come in here. Any keys that you already have installed, you can come in here and find them. For me, I have all of our modules already pre-installed. Some of them are ones you will have gotten from the Kickstarter. Some of them you will have to purchase, like the first step. But hopefully I can show you that today and convince you it's worth doing. Let's look at our worlds. Normally, you would have a blank here if this is your first time in Foundry. I have a lot of worlds that are personal and private to me for other games, so I decided to have a little fun. Always another secret, as we know. But what you'll do is you'll create a world. You can name it whatever you'd like. We're going to select Cosmere, and we'll just say test for today. You can add your own custom background if you want to, but then you can also select a join page theme. Default will have a lot of information, like showing off what your next play date is, maybe a summary of the game for your players. You can even set your next session date. I'll show you what that looks like here. And let's set a date. We're going to set, we'll set for tomorrow. And we'll say 8 p.m. We create this world and we launch it for the first time. This is what you would see. So you'll have your world description, your game summary, number of current players, and I'll show you how to increase that for the future. Return to setup will allow you to go back to your picking out your worlds or your modules for your GM. Right away, you'll just come in here and you'll join your game session. There'll be no password protection initially. You'll want to set that up. especially if you're hosting publicly. Thanks, Spectrum. No convincing needed. Appreciate it. On your first launch of a world, you will see our release notes. This is going to cover pretty much everything, showing off the build, how to use some basic features. We'll go over most of this today, so you shouldn't have to worry. Those of you who were using us in our alpha testing stage, you'll see all the updates here and what was included. But let's go into installing a module. So in here, you'll see Manage Modules. And here, I have dozens of modules. As a Foundry person who's been invested in this for several years now, I have a whole bunch. But to quickly find your Cosmere modules, you can type Cosmere here, and you can quickly grab any of the ones you want. The official ones are all Cosmere RPG. That's a little bit of a teaser for the future. Sorry about that. But let's install all the ones that are available for purchase today. The ones down here, Cosmo Use Fill Macros and Workbench, are community mods that we do recommend, but they are currently not up to date with version 1.0. So for now, leave them uninstalled. And we just say hold. It'll reload pretty quickly. And from here, you'll see all of your handbooks and your beautiful stuff here. You have your adventures, Bridge 9, Stonewalkers, and the First Step. And we'll go over how those get installed shortly. But let's do what everyone really wants to do the first time. Let's look at the handbook and let's create a character. So our handbook comes in here, and it's broken down by chapters and introductions. These do scale. For GMs who are curious and would like to share some of these beautiful, beautiful pieces of art, like this beautiful image of Kaladin right here, you can click on it. It will pop out, and you can even click Show Players. It will send to all of your players these images. You can use that for your adversaries, for setting the mood of a scene, and we'll go through all this. We have breakdown, and we have Foundry notes. We have added in here some notes on how to use the system at certain points where we felt that it differs a little bit from pen and paper to help guide you. Especially since, as of right now, we do not have a proper character builder that does step-by-step. That is in the works. It is planned. It is a planned feature. But for now, basically what you're going to do is more of an interactive pen and paper style. And that's what we're going to go through now. So let's start with Chapter 1. That's character creation. And before character creation, we always want to talk about a story or what the idea of this character is. But let's show off some of the cool features, the internal linking of the system. So we have a bunch of steps. Here we go. Let's start off. Where is my character sheet? Well, it tells us right here, under this person tab, you can, or the actors tab as it's called in Foundry, you can quickly click on it, and you'll find Create an Actor. Here, you'll have either characters or adversaries. We'll talk about the adversaries a little later. For now, let's just do a character. And I'm actually, for the sake of this demo, I'm going to create my character that I'll be playing in a live play. So we're gonna call him Bryn. All right, and now we have his beautiful character sheet here. Now, this is the default character sheet, and you can use the starter rules, which come in the system. If you've bought nothing and just download the system, you will have the full starter rules. These have limited aspects of certain paths, only 2 paths per tree, and I'll show this off in a little more detail later. But this is what the style of character sheet looks like for anyone who's using the system. However, if you buy any of the premium products from Brotherwise and for Foundry, you will actually have access to, under Configure Settings, under Cosmere Roleplay, a new system theme for the Stormlight Archive. And look at that. Beautiful, storm-weathered, golden-trimmed character sheets. Love to see it. Hopefully you enjoy that. So let's go. Step 1, origins on creating a character. Well, it says we need to think about it, and we need to choose our ancestry. Choose one ancestry from chapter 2, and we can see that it has a little link icon here. So what we can do is we can click on ancestry, and it will immediately open us to that chapter. So we can read. We could obviously go through and read a human. We could read about the singer ancestries. We can even take a look at the singer talent tree. Beautiful right here. Some of their powers. Very nice. But Bryn is human. He's basic. It's a shame. How do we add this to our sheet? Very simple. Anytime you see an icon like this, you can either click on it to read more detail about the ancestry itself, or you can just drag it right over from the handbook onto your sheet. Now we have a human. Cool. We have our ancestry. Now, it says, what's our next step? Choose culture. Well, here's a culture link. Now we have our culture section that pops up directly. We have a Lethe with some suggested names. We have Azish, so on and so forth. Bryn is Iriali, so we're going to take Iriali. And you'll notice when we add Iriali, we already get the cultural experience that is supposed to come with this. It's all down here in your expertise section on the character sheet. But he is also Carbronthian, so let's add a little bit of that mixed culture in there, because you get 2 cultures, as it says in your character sheet. We've already chosen our name, but if you hadn't, you would enter it now. Now we're going to go into our starting paths, which is always very exciting and interesting to look at. We have a heroic pass at a glance. Quick, simple table to explain a lot of what the characters do, what your starting path choices are. However, you'll notice that not only do we link chapters, we're linking the table here. And this is a big resource for a lot of GMs. When you click this, you'll see we have a specialized appendix for every table in the game. So if you ever just want to have that table up for a GM screen or a quick reference, it's right here, and you could find it. Need to find weapons real quick? Here you are. And the weapons are linked, of course, so we could drag them right onto a sheet if we need them. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm very excited, as you can tell. Let's go back to Chapter 4, which is our heroic paths. Now, again, beautiful art. I love sharing this art with you guys. I hope you can all see this. And again, we have the full-size artwork, so you can click and zoom, see the beautiful details of this work. This one was by Pete Arpenev. Beautiful work. Every path is detailed out like this. We have our banner across the top. We have beautiful artwork and images. There's some suggested builds. And then we have our talent tree, which is fully readable in sheet. Just hover over the talent that you want to read about. They are also popped out so that you could read it in more detail if you want to do that while still scrolling your journal. But let's skip back. Bryn is a scholar and a doctor. So how do we get this on here? I don't see that icon. The icon looked a little gaudy, but we did make it so you could just drag the name of the path itself, the image, boom, right onto your sheet. And you'll notice, Scholar, whenever you take the first key talent of any particular path, if it is the first time you are taking it as your starting path, you get a free rank. And we've already done that for you. Not only that, you'll see on your actions list, we've added that key talent already for you. Everything super smooth, super easy to do. Moving on from our starting path, we have attributes. Anyone who played in the beta will know you get 12 attribute points. So let's quickly assign it. Bryn's not a strong guy, but he's fast, so we're going to give him a 3. He's very smart. He has a lot of willpower. He's, not that aware. So we're going to do 1 here and 1 here. Okay. And 1 here. Hello. There we go. Okay, that was me accidentally mistyping. That's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, maybe he's a little more aware. We need to make him perceptive. All right, so 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's our 12 points. Foundry at its current time does not does not start keeping you in check. You could theoretically break the rules. Once we eventually have our character builder in there, it will keep it more in line with the actual proper building. So continue along with the guide and the handbook as you keep going. However, all of my related statistics are automatically calculated for you. You may have noticed your defenses are all calculated for you. Your strength, your focus, all calculated for you. And you can just top them up by just filling in a large number, and it will top them up. Let's see. We keep going. Skills and expertises. Well, starting skill. We already got our starting skill because Foundry does that for you. And we got our starting skill in lore. We're good. However, what we do get now is we do get 4 extra skill ranks. So let's say he's going to be a medical practitioner. We're going to put the 2 in there. And you'll notice that because we are a tier 1 character, we are restricted to only 2. Now, Foundry, being very open and the way we like to do things here, we're not going to stop you from putting a 3rd rank in there if you really wanted to. That's good for homebrew. But they are grayed out to indicate this is the proper place you should be at maximum for your tier. So let's put in 2 here, and we'll give him a little discipline and a little maybe perception, just so he doesn't get snuck up on. Not really a fighter, more of a scholar. Moving on from there, we have our expertises. So we already got our 2 free expertises that come in with our culture that we chose. However, you also get a number of expertises based on your intelligence. So I have 3 intelligence. How do we increase our expertises? Well, there's a nice little expertise here, and it is checkboxed pretty easily. All the weapons are here, all the cultures, and all the armors. I'm going to take leather, and I am also going to take myself a weapon. I think a rapier will be useful. But I'd also like some specialist information. Now, specialists are unique in the system. We couldn't list all the possible specialists because they are limited by your imagination only. So you can just customize. And for this case, we will throw in, let's say, white spine, injury specialist. Just to take care of someone. And you'll see, it adds right to your character sheet a custom expertise. Moving on from there, we get our talents. Again, we got our key talent already in there. This is just another reminder that, hey, look, it's already there for you. But you get your ancestry. If you chose singer, you would already have your singer ancestry applied. But since we aren't, we get a free extra talent as a human that has to come from a heroic path. So since we're scholar, might as well make ourselves a better scholar. By clicking on scholar here, we can go into our description of scholar, click on talents, and we can see the full skill tree. We could read about it, and you'll notice some of these are grayed out. This is our middle of the road comparison to character builder. If you do not have a prerequisite, it is grayed out and it is marked red and what that prerequisite is. But hey, look, I do meet the prerequisites for field medicine at medicine +1 and erudition. So I am going to just give it a left click and it will be added to my sheet. Now, what happens if I made a mistake? Very simply, you right click it off and it's gone. Right off your sheet, but let's add it back for now. We want that there. You'll also notice that we keep track of how many talents you have. So for a level 1 human, you should have 1 higher than your current level. And we do. So we know we've done it right. Moving on, we have our equipment. You gain a starting kit. So how do we do that here? Well, we jump to chapter 8 with our, we jump to our starting kit section here in chapter 7, and you'll see that little symbol I told you to keep an eye out before. Each of those symbols means you can click on it, read more about it, or you can just drag it right onto your character sheet. Specifically, I am going to be an artisan because I like the idea of picking my own light weapon. I did already take an expertise in rapier after all, and leather armor, and a couple of other useful things for myself. And 4d8 marks isn't a bad idea. So let's drag that artisan kit and let's switch over to the item side just so we see it fill in. Artisan kit over here. You'll see we have a pick, so we can either pick our hammer or we could pick any of the light weapons. I'm going to take rapier and confirm. And very quickly, the entire sheet is all filled out with all of the items from your starting kit. You are good to go. It also rolls all of your diamond marks. Now, you're saying diamond marks. Yes. In this system, we have generalized marks. That is the primary way the game functions, and that is what your GM will probably use for 90% of gamers. However, if you are that crunchy gamer, if you are that crunchy table who likes more details, we have included the ability for your spheres to be infused or done. And that's an easy fix right here. We just toggle in here, go to edit, and we can select right up here a filled in dot for infused or not for done. And we'll see those spheres quickly move over to done. Let's move them back to infused for the time being. But what about we really want to get crunchy? Well, I hear you. And if we really want to get into that, we can go into our items here. And we can look at loot. And we have every single chip available to you. All properly designed out. Your smoke stone's worth 40 marks. Your topaz brome is 20. Your emerald brome is 200. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, the capture didn't show the drop down. Yes, Sarah. Apparently there are some limitations to capturing on OBS. I apologize. But yes, there is a drop down there. You can make the change. Emerald brome 200 and so on and so forth. Garnet brome is only 20. Emerald chip is 10 marks, so on and so forth. Amethyst brome 100 marks. If you really like that crunchy, because again, we do go into, there is an entire chart in the system for people who like that breakdown. It still defers you to your total marks. It's still all based on your clear marks, your diamond marks, the entire system counting. That is still followed. But if you really want to just have some variance to your loot, we allow it. Setting your deflect value. It's already calculated for you. Just make sure you're wearing your armor. Your armor has a little icon here that shows, Scott, yes. With regards to the version, that is okay. 3.4.3 was just the latest version we tested. 3.4.6 does not make any significant changes that would cause an issue. If you do come across anything, let us know. But we didn't see any significant problems in our last-minute testing that we were able to do with it. So you should be good. Oh, yes. Yeah, let me show that real quick. Yeah, if I add an emerald brome here, we just go here. We add an emerald brome, and now we're at 220 marks. Because that's what our emerald brome is worth. A single emerald brome is worth 200 marks. Anyway, as I was continuing on to here, leather armor. We can turn it on and off with equipped, and it will quickly change your deflect value, and it will even tell you what kind of deflect that type of armor is wearing. Certain types of armor, or even custom armor that you and your GM might create, might have different deflect values. And that is something we can adjust in this detail section if you wanted to make some interesting adjustments. You'll also note that the traits that I have talents for, when I have expertise in leather and rapier, I do get their expertise, their expert traits. So rapier has defense, and the leather armor shows presentable, which is wonderful. Very easy to use. And that's really it to make your first character for anyone there. The last thing you have to do is you'd fill out your purpose, your obstacle. These are all story bits. I'm not going to fill out Bryn's story. You're going to have to tune into my live play that I'm a part of to hear his whole purpose and obstacle. But let's add a temporary goal. So we like the idea of it being goal. We go in here and we say edit. We could change that goal to be whatever. Maybe we want to make new friends. And great. Now we can work our way towards completing that goal at any time. If a GM wanted to, perhaps give you a reward immediately, you can actually add events here that will tell you, goal completed, I would like to grant this item, and I could give someone something. So, what item would I like for making a new friend? I know. What everyone wants. Oh wait, that's weapons, right? even I get sometimes caught up in there. Items we have are weapons here, and it's shard blade. I'm gonna give myself a shard blade, and so when I update this goal and I finish completing this goal, I automatically have a shard blade added to my character because I completed my goal. And you could do that with almost any item. Doesn't matter if it's one of the items from here, a custom item that your GM creates, or even a companion item, because companion items are possible. Very cool stuff. For now, let's remove that goal, and we'll remove the shard blade. And yes, making new friends is as easy as ticking a box. Connections will also allow you to add in information. Let's say, you know what? We'll cover that in a minute. How do we level up? Level up is easy in this system. We're just going to follow the character advancement chart. Right here. And like I said, you could pop this out into its own view. So let's go up to level 2. We take our level here, and we just make it level 2. You'll notice health was automatically increased by 5. Now let's go take care of everything else. I can still add 2 new skill ranks, so might as well take a little practice with that rapier here. Light weapons. I'm going to take that up. And we're also going to add in 1 new talent. But I'm level 2, you say. I think I would like to be a Radiant. Well, let's go do that. So, back into our Stormlight Handbook we go. And we're going to take a look at the Heroics Paths page. I think I'm going to be an Edge Dancer. It's my personal order. In real life, I think Bryn deserves to be one too. And again, it's the same deal. We just drag it right onto the sheet, grab the banner, goes right onto the sheet. You will immediately get access to your Breathe Stormlight, Enhance, and Regenerate as per taking the first ideal talent. But you'll notice I don't have my surges. Well, of course you don't. You haven't spoken the first ideal, which is automatically added to your character sheet. And, as I talked about earlier, there are events triggered upon completing. Let's see what happens if Bryn was to finish speaking the first ideal. You get a couple of pop-ups over here. And now we have Abrasion and Progression in their basic forms. On top of that, our Edge Dancer path has now been upgraded. We have our stats in abrasion and progression. Wonderful. And now's a perfect time to go over roles in this system. Roles are as simple as clicking on the test that you want to take. So if your GM says, I need you to make an abrasion test, you simply click on abrasion, and it will do all of this. Now, if your GM wants to give you a bonus, you can add that. If your GM says, let's raise the stakes, let's add the plot die. There's a little checkbox here. We just add the plot die. Easy enough to roll, and it shows up in your roll dialog. You can even see the breakdown here. So we have our D20, our +5, and 1 DP for the plot die. Great. Now, I hear you saying, what if we have an advantage, Chris? Well, that's as easy as left-clicking on the die itself. That will give you advantage, indicated by the blue up arrow. What if we have disadvantage? Well, that's as easy as right-clicking. Red down arrow. Very good to go. Now, obviously, on a D20 roll with advantage, we're going to want the best. And you'll see that Bryn here, it actually shows what both dice were, and we can even click into it. We can see the 10 and the 6 plus 3 for a 13 and a 9. But plot dies are weird in this system, because plot die, you get to pick. So what happens if we raise the stakes and give ourselves advantage or disadvantage, doesn't really matter, on this? How do we determine what plot die we want? Well, there it is. It rolled for you. I think we're going to take the opportunity, and we'll just apply that we took the opportunity as our chosen die with our advantage. Beautiful. Same goes for weapon tests. Make sure to equip the weapon, and you roll that, except in this system, all of your dice are rolled at once, so you'll see your skill test and your damage die are rolled at the same time. Let's do that. We roll this out, and we see our rapier here, and we see that we have a 17, which we can check. It was an 11 plus our 6, and our damage was a 12, which actually maxed out. That actually breaks what I wanted to show off. But we'll roll again. We'll try. Perfect rolls. Here we go. So here we didn't quite get a 4. But let's say the GM granted us an opportunity, or we happened to raise the stakes and got an opportunity. We want to use that opportunity to max out our damage. Well, we've included this button. This will instantly up that die to its maximum damage. Awesome. We also have the option for grazes. So in this system, your graze for a cost of focus, you can graze an enemy. Well, how do we do that? We have a 6 plus 6, but applying the damage with these buttons would apply 12. Well, you just click the graze button here, and now it's only going to apply the 6 that we have on the damage dice, and completely take away the plus. How does that look in combat? Well, we'll get there as I show off the maps a little bit later, because what fun is it if we don't spoil a little bit of some of the modules later? I think that covers most of what I'd like to talk about on the sheets. Oh, cool thing for erudition. I love this. The people who worked on this did a real good job. If anyone has read erudition, erudition allows you to get extra skills, which is kind of super important. And you can even break your 2-pip limit. Well, how does that work? If you have access to a library, you can use erudition. And we have a little pop-up here. I'd like to become better at medicine, and I'd like to read up on some lore. And maybe, I'm Iriali and Carbranthi. I really don't understand the Alethi, so I will take that cultural expertise in Alethi, and I'll confirm. And suddenly I have an Alethi cultural expertise, and back on my main page, I have my extra in medicine there, and my extra in lore. And this will change anytime you run erudition. Let's say I want to become crafting and deduction, and I want to change this to a Herdazian. Gotta really know how to cook my own chowder. Well, now Alethi's gone, Cardassian has been replaced. And if we look, I now have 1 pip in crafting and discussion and deduction. Beautiful. Very easy to work. A lot of fun macros like that. And they are able to be written by you guys too, if you are so inclined to do so, using the event system with some pre-built in stuff, or if you are skilled enough in Foundry and coding yourself, we do allow you to write your own macros. Let's have some. Oh, let's also work on the character sheet. We need some art for Bryn. So we're gonna go into here, and we're going to go in. We need some art. Well, we'll just borrow the Jamari art for now. And it's as simple as that. You can upload from your own PC. So, awesome. Now, you go into these 3 dots, the little burger token, and go to prototype token. This is where you can adjust what your token looks like when you drag yourself onto a map. Personally, I like to adjust this so that my name will be displayed when it's hovered by anyone as a player, so that my allies know my name. We make sure it is always linked to the actor for players. We don't want to do that for generic enemies, which we've already set up for the pre-made ones, but if you're ever making your own. And your appearance, it defaults to what we have put here. But you can always add your own token art if you have any from any of your personal programs or anything you really like. We will also note, I missed this completely earlier. I'm very excited. It's release day. There's so much to cover and show you. Jamari is currently being affected by the enhanced skill from his radiant power, where you get +1 strength and +1 speed here. And that is controlled under your effects and conditions. So a lot of abilities will have temporary effects that can be toggled on and off, including your own Radiant Investiture. I'd advise not to turn that one off, unless for some reason you can't use Investiture anymore. I don't know why a GM would do that, but I'm sure there's good storyline. I will show some interesting other things you can do with tokens a little bit later when we talk about some of our preferred modules to use along with this system. Again, appearance and things like this. Vision, we do recommend you to switch it to Sense. That will be here, and change your rating to be your Sense rating. What that will do is if a scene is ever obscured in any way to your character, you will still have that range of vision, which is important. On top of that, we can display bars for usage on your character when you hover over that token. I like to do it only myself because I don't like people knowing my health, but we could change health. We could add in a focus bar or an investiture bar, whatever you like. Take some time, investigate some of those options. Very cool, very cool. Let's see, what else can we do? I think that's enough here for the character sheet. And what we're going to do now is we're going to log out here. We're going to return to our setup, and we're going to go into my demo world that has a couple of other things already set up. This login is the basic, is the minimal version. Doesn't have all the extra bells and whistles with summaries, but sometimes you just like that. And there you go. You log into your system. Now, we have a new character here that we have. What we want to do is we would like to show off some of the other modules. So like I said, we're going to turn them on here. Go to Cosmere, and we're going to turn on all of the current modules that are available or will soon be available. Again, we can see that they are all now in our compendium browser. Let's talk about the world guide, because I'm sure everyone is interested in the world guide. There is some information here. I will try to avoid putting spoilers on the screen to any major events. I am going to show off some adversaries. You will probably see some stuff there. But even the titles of some of these sections of the World Guide, Cosmology and Religion, we definitely have some interesting things in here. But you'll have to read those for yourself. I'm not going to spoil those for you guys. But it's the same as anything else. Anything in here can be opened up as art, shared with your players if you want to show them a view. That includes things from other worlds. And there's a little note on world hoppers for you. And an entire chapter dedicated to Shadesmar. This has to be one of my favorite images, I think, in the book. Beautiful stuff here. Beautiful stuff. But the big sell on our world guide, obviously, is the pronunciation key. That's what everyone was really going for, right? Now everyone has official pronunciations, and no more arguments, I'm sure, will ever be had on how to pronounce anyone's name. No. What we're actually after is the adversaries and bestiary. Everything here is as you would find in the PDF per each individual adversary that we have here. But we have links again. So how do we do this? We're going to bring an adversary into our world. We want a commoner, we can just drag the commoner into our world under our list of actors here. And that allows us to access their character sheet very easily. From here, you can see a limited view of their skills. It's a slightly different character sheet from a full character sheet that you would get with all of your character, with all of your. Just realized I'm slightly off center here. Let's move myself here. Slightly different layout. But if you ever needed, as a GM, to roll any of the other skills that aren't one of the skills that these people are trained in, you can click this eye and you will have access to all the skills to roll as normal. All of their weapons and abilities can be just clicked on. It's just for compacting a view, but you could read each individual feature or action related to a particular adversary. And all the adversaries come out like this. They all have notes pages with their tactics built right in, including to what weapons or abilities they might use. And their tokens are draggable right onto a sheet. Now, what's this? That doesn't look like the same commoner over here. Well, there are certain tokens that will randomly generate their art if you need to quickly populate your scene as a GM. Look at all those beautiful commoners. Bunch of different people mixing and mingling. Now, this is changeable, same way we talked about earlier. We can change their token appearance and manually set it. While you do it through the token on the sheet, though, in Foundry, by using right-clicking and open configuration, we can go into this little drop-down, and here's all of your possible tokens. So you need an Asian female. Maybe we need a Shin female instead. We say update token, and we get a Shin female. Beautiful. Awesome. There is a module that I do recommend to make this even easier for players. I will show that real quick, but I will explain the module a little later. Again, because it comes right off this right click. This is a beautiful little thing that lets you get a visual of all the tokens instead. It's a nice little quality of life module. I highly recommend it. That one in particular is that one is Token HUD Wildcard. And it's a free module to anyone to add on to your Foundry game. Go ahead and look it up, download it. It is very fun. Very useful. And it definitely helps with regards to a lot of other adversaries. Now, if you just want to quickly find your adversaries, we can do that. In our Stormlight World Guide folder, we have an entire bestiary dedicated here. And it has all the animals, humanoids, and other. organized by tier. So if you're a GM and you really want to just quickly find something appropriate for your people, you can find it very quickly. All right. Let's look at something else that has a fun little one. So axe hounds also, they look good. We have, you know what? Let's have some fun. I think we're gonna. You can also search too. So if you need a particular, let's see, we need a singer. So let's take a Warform singer here. And Warforms actually have 4 different versions, male and female, with different art. So that is something we can show off there. That's fun. Maybe we want to spoil something else. It is officially released now, so let's take a look at some of the adversaries. Are fused, deepest ones, devastating ones, flowing ones, masked ones, focused ones. I think the one I'm going to show off, because it has a really cool Foundry unique ability that we like, I'm going to show you off the focused one. Look at this guy. He has a monstrous stat sheet. He is a boss. He is tier 4. You do not want to fight this guy right away. But he has this beautiful action here called Tight Form. And when they make their appearance in the books, a little bit of spoiler, they're able to tightly contract. Well, how do we do that? Well, it increases their deflect value to 6. That's useful. Changes their movement rate, but it also changes their size to medium. And right now, they're large. They're pretty big. Well, what do we do about that? Why don't we just use the investiture and find out? Shrunk him down. And now he's in a different token, different image, to represent the actual tight form of the focused one. And when they come back out, this time you just uncheck the investiture. It costs nothing to come back. And you can come right back. Beautiful. We love that. On top of that, they have versions like Surge of Tension. Maybe we'll preview that a little bit. There you go. It's not the full Surge of Tension. This just happens to be their version of it on the focused one. Very cool ability there. They do regenerate, and we can actually do that. We could show that here. Let's damage our guy here. Maybe we'll have him only have 10 hit points left. Oh no! Well, if we use regenerate here, and we consume an investiture, it will roll our die out. And you'll notice this time I rolled dies. We'll go to that in a second. And when we have regenerate. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight and target this focused one, and we're going to press the green, and we'll apply this healing, and we see that their health came back by 10 points. Beautiful. Very cool. So while I show off all the cool stuff now, I'm going to recommend some stuff because you're going to see it. Let's just cover these real quick. I do recommend the following 4 free modules. Dice So Nice, as we have actually created plot dice in here. So let's do this. Let's raise the stakes. And you can see our plot die is visually represented in the game. You can see it hit. Dice So Nice is beautiful. We recommend that a lot. Dice Tray is down here. I've seen people posting it already. Dice Tray is fully moddable in here, and I have actually added a raise the stakes button if I ever just want to roll a plot die for whatever reason. Token HUD wildcard I've already showed off to just quickly switch between any of the token facing. Very nice. And Tokenizer. Tokenizer is something that I recommend for people who aren't particularly heavily art skilled. And we go in here, and again, we like to grab, we grab a character. Let's grab a Bina here. We have her artwork. But if we were to drag her token onto the field now, it doesn't look that great compared to these beautiful pieces of art. Oh, we forgot to set her let's just remove any lighting here. Global illumination. We did, she doesn't have a ring. Well, that stinks. So what are we going to do about that? Well, with Tokenizer, for people who aren't particularly art fancy or don't have Adobe skills or some other editing software to add rings, you can quickly take the character with their sheet and you use Tokenizer to apply a ring. And you can adjust the zoom portion. We can get whatever we want. But we've included something very special for people who decide to use Tokenizer. And these files are available if you look through the directory for people who want to use it with Photoshop anyway. But we can add frames here. And if we go into here, and we go into our modules, and we look for our Stormlight Handbook. Oops. I double-clicked too quickly. That's on me. Too excited. We go into our Stormlight Handbook, and we go into our assets and our art. You'll see that there's a folder called Token Rings. And for each size of creature we have covered, so let's look at medium. We have color-coded rings that you could use whatever you'd like. They are color-coded to the Radiant orders. So you have your Edge Dancer white, or you have your Else Collar teal, you have your Lightweaver maroon, and so on and so forth. Abina's a Windrunner at the end, so we're going to give her Windrunner blue. We'll say select this file, and there you go. Look at that. We apply this, and now when we bring Abina out, she looks like she fits. Beautiful rings, colored to whatever you'd like, and you could use that for your custom characters, your custom adversaries. Makes it very easy to use. And as I was saying, here, if we look on our sheet and we want to edit some stuff, if we go by hovered by anyone and we change our resources here to be hovered by owner and we want to show off her health, we can update this token and we can see that Abina now, we actually can see oh, I did not change her name. We still have her set as character. I'm a terrible person. I forgot to give her her proper name. So we're going to call this Abina. And we are going to also change her name here, Abina. All right, resources, health, update token. And now we have Abina here. And you can see all of them have their own names and appended extra numbers when you have multiple of the same on a scene. Let's bring in some of the other fun features. Unless there's a question in the chat about anyone who wants to see something in particular with the world. Oh, you know what? Here's something cool. With Foundry, we fully encourage making your own homebrew. And we know people are going to love to do it. So how do we make an adversary? Let's just say we create a test adversary, right? So we have our basic sheet. We have, this is in editing mode, non-editing mode. With editing mode, you can manually go in here and just create stuff with a plus icon. But we have things already created for you. This should be a boss. So that's easy. We just make this a boss and a boss. Maybe they have the enhanced senses trait. And now they have the enhanced senses trait. Maybe we want to have them have we really liked this flesh fabrial skill. So we're going to give it to them. And yeah, this is just a bunch of different features. We also have, let's see here, we also have some basic strikes. These are meant to be edited. So this one is like a ranged weapon. It's set up to be a ranged weapon, but you'll still need to go in here and edit and toggle some details. You know, you want to make it use, is it a heavy ranged weapon? Is it a light ranged weapon? But again, all of these features that are available right here are ways that you can adjust. So you don't need this. If we want to make it a light weapon that goes off of a particular stat, we don't need those roll formulas anymore. We can say, It's going to be a light weapon. It's going to use the default light weaponry skill, which is speed. And default, it's going to deal keen damage. And now when we roll that, let's give this guy a little upgrade in their light weaponry here. Alrighty. And now when they roll this strike with their ranged weapon, we'll see that they have their +2 to light weaponry, and it's there. It just did it for us. Pretty easy. And these can get more and more complex the more we want them to be. There are some more complex things over in the Stormlight features. I encourage you guys to dive into this and just take a look at stuff. Play with all of these unique, really cool options on creating unique items. Here, again, when creating a new weapon, you can say it's equipped. You could give it the traits that weapons have, different expert traits. You could choose whether it's a light, heavy, or special, if it's linked to a particular skill or not. What do you want it to consume a resource even using this weapon? For example, say you've made a fabrial weapon that is going to consume investiture. You could do that. Or if you don't want it to consume that, maybe it needs to use charges. We know charges exist in the system, so we have 5 charges and 5 charges. And when we use this item, it will drop the charges. Now, it's not really going to do much because we didn't set it up to do anything, but you can see that the charges drop with each use. And then you just go in here and recharge it when you get to a recharge point in your story. A lot of this is very free and very easy to use. Conditions. Conditions on tab can be toggled on and off. Right now, we will admit the conditions don't do anything but flag your character with the condition. If they have debilitating things that you need to be aware of, like immobilized, reducing your movement rate to 0, it will not do that. That is a planned thing in the future. But for now, it's a notation on your character sheet that you guys will need to just be aware of. Let's see. What else can we show off with here? The world guide. So in the world guide, there are some points of interest towards the end of the book. And each of these points of interest have these scenes. And they have a D6 roll. So your GM could choose this, or if they just want something random to happen while hanging around in Alethkar, they could come here to this roll table scenes and just roll it, and it will roll for them. And it will even tell them exactly what it was. A devastating 1 gleefully burns down some human buildings. Oh no, what will our players do? And that goes for all of these different scenes. I believe we actually also have that in the handbook as well. That is correct. The handbook has our crafting assistants. While not everything is automated here, and you will have to manually create the item like I was showing you earlier, these tables can be rolled for your fabrial drawbacks. And we'll see. There you go. This fabrial drawback means it's slower. So the movement rate that this effect grants is 50%. We have item drawbacks, and of course we have our shard blade injury table for quickly killing off your players with shard blade injuries, which of course we will enjoy. There is an animal companion section in the handbook as well, talking about adversaries. And I know a lot of people were interested in this. Yes, we did spoil this a little bit in that we showed that they exist. But the Larkin and Greater Larkin do exist as companions that you can obtain. Okay? And in doing so here, you can actually see this. So your Larkin has weak wings. It can't really fly very far. It's got a bite attack. It can heal. and it does drain light from sources of investiture. So, pretty cool companion to have a whole of. Yes, our hunting chicken. He's very cute. Very, very cute hunting chicken. And we got art for most of them. Sadly, a Serapenth is the one piece of art even we could not get a hold of. So there's just placeholder there until that is something that gets made in the future. We have also pre-committed to making some of the alternate creatures. In the handbook, if you were to go into our animal companion sections, there's an entire section on customizing stat blocks. And all of these features are actually included right here for you to drag onto your character. But they gave an example on how to build an axe hind, or the hunting chicken, or a poison kremling. And we've done that. So here's your axe hind, here's your mink, here's your hunting chicken, all based on other modified versions of stat blocks. But we've done those ones for you. Yes, Chull time. Get a Chull as an adversary, as an ally. We also have something that I really like. Let me drag Abina back on for this scene to show her off. So, with Abina being a thing here, what we want to see, right, is, well, light is important in the Stormlight Archive. Carrying around your spheres or a sphere lantern is very important. So if you take this sphere lantern macro and drag it onto your macro bar, which you could always write your own macros, that's the thing. But then we click Abina and we run this sphere lantern macro. Are we having a little? Yeah, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty here. Let's target Abina with this and execute the macro. Is it? We'll come back to that. Apparently, that's something that may have gotten a little banged up there in release. But essentially, it will change an outline of a glow for your character. Look for that update to get fixed shortly. That shouldn't matter if the light on the scene is available or not. That is probably just one of the lines of code in the macro is messed up. I will have one of our members of the team report that, and hopefully it'll get fixed right away. Live demo is live demo of what you're seeing. Let's see what else we have here. We have the adversary features. All right, I think we covered the basic 2 books. So let's talk adventures. Adventures are unique in Foundry. So let's start with here. When you click on them, they don't open a handbook like you do before. These are pre-built things that activate in your world. So what we do is we actually click on this one thing, we have a discussion, and it will tell you exactly what's in it. We're going to add 19 actors, some journal entries, some scenes, and some folders into the adventure. And there we go. We now have in our scene tab, other than our landing page here for Foundry, we now have some Theater of the Mind scenes and some maps to play Bridge 9, along with our landing page for Bridge 9 containing all of our individual pre-gens, which are included in your list of actors here. Each one fully fleshed out, already ready to go for you. Done perfectly. We have our NPCs divided into creatures, singers, and so forth. Wonderful. And our unique bridge characters, all the NPCs that are named. And you're wondering, I am sure, for those of you who are going to, for those of you who are wondering, you did this for Bridge 9 with these individual unique characters that are really just reskins of a commoner or something. Are you guys insane enough to do that with Stonewalkers? The answer is yes. By chapter, every named NPC has its own token and character sheet, all that you could possibly want. And we won't go further into those adversaries because those are spoilers, and I really don't want to ruin the Stonewalker's adventure. It is awesome. That is 92 NPCs with the Stonewalker's adventure. So very cool there. But I will do one spoiler, one big spoiler. Tune out for the next minute. Skip yourself ahead. There's an item in here that I want to show off because I just can't help myself. It is a really cool thing to show on a sheet. And I really just want to show what it looks like on our little Abina here. Yeah. Yeah, it's there. It's there. And if we add it to our sheet, it adds what you would expect it to add. I'm even just being vague for those listening, so no spoilers for you there. And they're on the sheet, your actions, and even some talents that the thing grants you to start. Now you're asking, everyone was wondering this. Hey, can you pick more of the talents from that tree? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And they are all included right here. You could drag any of them that you want onto that sheet, and it will work. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And they will all come on. Right there. Little skill trees for each of those surges. But you're asking me, well, what happens if we have to give it up? I mean, what player would give that up? But we thought about that too. And well, it all goes away. It all goes away. No more. And the spoilers are over for those who didn't want to see that. But it's some very cool stuff there. There are also some other unique items for Stonewalkers that are involved in the story. I really hope you guys get to see that. I mean, it is a precious. The people who spent time building that item really enjoy it. And the cool thing about that is it follows all of the in-game rules for crafting items that we have for building your own custom home items. So if you really wanted to do that, you could come here and through a set of series of event triggers, you could literally mimic that exact same thing. So if you wanted to make one of those items, say 8 other times for reasons, you could. You could absolutely do that. And it acts as a nice template on how to do so. As far as Stonewalkers goes, again, we have the full chapters here. We have adversaries, we have items, we have tables and everything. Same thing, everything gets split out. The Boons and Curses table. I'm sure everyone really wants to see that. Hopefully you've opened up your PDFs and scanned through there, because that's a lot of fun info. But all of the information is in here. All of it is linked. And you're going to be able to go through. All of the scenes are also in here. And you'll see we've organized them by chapter. And again, I'm not going to open up for spoiler's sake, but each chapter has a set of Theater of the Mind maps, which I will show here just to give you an idea. We have like cover art and landing. There's not really a Theater of the Mind for Chapter 1 specifically. But let's just say, here we go. We're going to be in the Kholin War Camp. So, you know what? That one's not too much of a spoiler. Here's the Kholin War Camp. And that way, there's not a gridded map, but you can have your character's tokens on here as they move around from place to place. And a lot of these places are even highlighted in such a way that if you were to take your text tool here, you can actually unhide them and they will become visible to your players. So once they've visited a place, hey, they know that the spear exchange exists, or the workshop exists. Maybe they've actually gone to the central colon complex, you know, and you can mark that on their maps. Yeah. I noticed that a little bit. Yep, we are disappearing the adventure titles and all of that away. I appreciate that, Death Boat. And we will now, going forward here, we can actually, because of that, we can now just immediately delete all of this and it will go away. What other adventures do we have? Well, we have one more adventure, and this is the one that is not part of the Kickstarter backing, but it is something that you can purchase. Some people did get the PDF as part of it, but the VTT version of it is not. The first step is a level 0 adventure to build your first character, and it does lead directly into Stonewalkers. There is a basic first step and a solo edition, and we have both, and you can import them individually or together. They do not overwrite each other. They are separate folders for each one in the world. But let's go ahead and import the first step for party play. Let's take a look at that. Here, we will see that we have we have a landing page and a single fight for this. We didn't put them in folders because, again, they're not particularly one-offs, and they're really great for just reusing those maps if you ever want them. The journal portion here is where it is a big thing. So the first step, as it's played through here, has a bunch of different read-alouds, sidebars, mechanics checks. There's some stuff you can grab from CosmereRPG.com. But here's the cool thing. This is very much a add things to your sheet as you go. As far as adding these things to your sheet, the nice part is, because your sheets are digital and live, you can just add these to your sheet as you go. If you're told, hey, your speed attribute goes up by 1, you can just do that as you go. Hey, willpower or presence, add it up as you go. What we have done, again, to avoid too many spoilers, I'm going to show you just like the first section here. This ambush, where you guys are ambushed. We get a little bit of a read aloud text here, and then we see part 1 choice. So what do we do with part 1 choice? You ask your players these questions. And when they decide to do something, it says go to A, B, C, or D. Well, you can just click A. And if they choose, then once you're in this search, as they go, you can say, well, they chose A2. Well, now we're at A2. And you can continue the read aloud, you can continue their gains of attributes, and all of this other wonderful stuff. It does everything to level up your character, including giving you ideas on what path you should probably play as, goals you might want to complete in the future, so on and so forth. The final bit here does have some adventure hooks and how to wrap it into Stonewalkers if you want to go that route. And if you don't want to do that, there are regular adventure hooks that don't require Stonewalkers that you could continue to go through. As far as things for this, there are minor tables that give you some quick informational stuff. This is meant to be used with the handbook, so we don't provide you all the items in here. They are meant to be used with the handbook. This is just for reference. What we do have here is we do have this tracking sheet. It's really just a thing you can take an image of and mark it up. there's not much there. We do not have a digital version at this time. It was just not good enough quality to release. Possible improvement in the future. I can't make that promise at this moment. But each of these things, I ran my players through this. This is a great way to get people who are unfamiliar with the world and what they might want to play just based on their vibes. So it is a great feature. The art is amazing. All these little extra pips help guide your creation. It's an interesting, quick little story and gives some insight to just pre-Stonewalkers. So it is a lot of fun. I do encourage it. It is a lot of fun. And the 0 level version, let's quickly look at that. It's basically the same thing. The wording on some prompts is slightly different, as it is meant for one player. But again, this one suggests that you actually use the journal section on your character to take notes for yourself and keep track of certain thoughts as you go forward, as you play through, with a whole journaling section for solo experiencing of the first step. Otherwise, it functions very similar. Click on A, B, etc. You know, I don't know the cost directly. Brotherwise has not revealed it. I'm wondering if these have gone onto their store yet. You know what? I might... Oh. Do you now, Rob? Well, you'll have to push that one up real quick. But if you just wanna ping it to me privately, I can copy the macro properly, and then we'll have it in here, and so that we can show it what it's supposed to do, and we'll push the fix. Oh, you have the PR. I'm on my live server. This has actually all the downloaded stuff, so someone else can show it. But that's good to know that we already have the fix for the sphere light macro. That'll be something really cool to show off. I'll probably make a separate quick 2-minute video to show that one and put it on the YouTube channel as we go. I think that covers a lot of the basics here. We covered how to make characters. We covered talking about adversaries and the drag and drop functions that we have ready for you guys with our adversary features. We talked about how to import adventures, and we just looked at some custom modules that I recommend. Again, Dice So Nice, Dice Tray, Token HUD, Wildcard, and Tokenizer. Very useful for your gameplay to improve your experience. I will plug myself on our Discord, the Metalworks. There is a module that I have created for Dice So Nice, so that while you are in Dice So Nice, you can adjust these 3D settings. And I actually have for you here different dice for each order of Radiant. So we have Else Caller dice. We have some really wild Stoneward dice. And so on and so forth. Just general color themes. They are fun. Some of them, like the Dustbringers, might have certain effects on natural 20s involving fire. Yeah, I would assume probably Deathboat, they are probably very close to the same as Demiplane, if not exactly the same. So that'll be good to know. It's literally just a capitalization, huh, Ross? All right, let's do a quick change. Edit this. Save. Let's drop this in. Can we get this working now? Yeah, there we go. Look at that. So you'll get your lantern fullness. You could choose a single sphere, maybe a diamond, and suddenly we have this bright light that's now visible to you. What happens if we do it again and we're going to say a single sphere, but maybe it was a sapphire? Well, now we have a slight blue glow. Let's look at what happens if we put in a ruby. Now it's a slight red tint. And this can continue onward and upward. We can actually have an entirely filled sphere lantern of emerald gems. And look at that. It fills up the whole area, all bright with a slight glowing green. And with regards to this, let's drop this down to empty. We set lantern, and the whole thing is gone again. If we want to set back to maybe a quarter fill lantern, we can see that moving Abina will move the lantern with us. And so as you're exploring the dark places of Roshar, that radius will move with you. It is a macro, and it is built into the system. We realized there was a small typo. Rost quickly fixed it for me, just for this live version, but we will be pushing that up as a quick, like, 0.1, 0.2 update very shortly, so that gets fixed and that it's done. And yes, yeah, it is one of our favorite little extra Foundry unique specific things we decided to add in for this. I'm glad we did get that really quick and fixed to show that off at the end of this. That's really all I have. I'll open it up to questions for a real quick. I don't have much time left on my schedule that I can keep this going, but it's been a nice about an hour and a half now. So I am so appreciative of everyone stopping in and taking a look. I hope it's convinced you to use Foundry if you weren't already. If you are using it, I hope it helps you build some stuff. Oh, you know what I could show off real quick? Let's do a little mini encounter here. Let's go take let's go view this scene. We're gonna change some stuff here, and we are going to, just so that I don't have to deal with lighting or anything here, all this is out. Let's take some of our pre-gens, our Bridge 9 pre-gens, like Abina and Palinor and Ved, and bring them in. Because this is one of the other things I didn't cover, and I really should have, is our combat tracker. So here it is, our combat tracker in its full glory here. We have some Axe Hounds who are attacking Taizo here. And we have our wonderful Abina and Palinor and Ved coming in for the fight to come and protect him. We begin our combat, and here the players can choose on their turn. Now, players will only see their own toggle speed, so they can only toggle their own speeds. But they can toggle freely and move these pieces back and forth however they want. When they are done acting, they mark as acted. And that tells the GM, I have taken my turn. I have called my turn. I have nothing to do until you move to the next round. This goes on. Now, cool thing. Let's look at someone like Palinor who has 2 deflect, right? Let's have this Axe Hound run up on him. And let's have him target Palinor. And we're going to have the Axe Hound open up. Let's have this Axe Hound bite Palinor. And it's not going to consume focus because he's not prone, so he's not going to get to do his extra thing. So we're just going to turn that off. We'll hit continue. We will roll. And it's a good roll too. So we do get the hit. It's going to deal this 5 damage to Palinor. So we select Palinor here, and as the GM or the owner of Palinor, because you can only apply damage to tokens you own, the GM owns everything. Players only own their own. We would click this 1 times damage to apply the 5 damage that was rolled here by this Axe Hound. What's this? Palinor only took 3 damage. That's because Palinor has 2 deflect, and that bite does not have any damage type that will make it through the deflect. Nor does it have piercing. So we automatically calculate that for you if you are running this in-game, which is very, very important. And if you wanted to graze, say our little Axe Hound had not bit. Let's heal Palinor up a bit. Bring him back up. All right, and we'll delete this attack as if it didn't happen. Let's give him disadvantage. Yeah, the 12 isn't going to hit Palinor. So, but the Axe Hound, we're going to say grazes. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch this over to graze. We're going to deal the 1 damage to Palinor. We'll see that it's completely absorbed by his deflect. And then we switch back over to the Axe Hound here. And with that done, we do this little minus button, and it will reduce the focus of the Axe Hound because we had to take an action that is not accounted for automatically, and we can just reduce the focus live in play. You can do that manually on the sheet as well, but sometimes it's just easier to quickly highlight the token and hit minus, especially for certain things like grace. Let's show off one little thing else with here. Let's drag focused one. These people are not ready for the focused one, but when he joins the battle, we'll see this is how bosses work. Bosses can take a fast and a slow turn, and thus do not need a turns toggle. They just exist on both turns, and you can activate their turns individually to let your players know that you have acted on there. And you can always update and reactivate their actions, reset activations. That's all good. You can mark them as defeated if they get defeated. They got lucky. That focus one just up and died and disappeared. So yeah, I think that covers some of the basics here with combat, with showing off our fast and slow turns. Please come into our Discord. I enjoyed having you guys today. There's so many more things I could show you and cover. It would take hours upon hours. And you know, we will gush and help anyone who needs help in our Discord. We're trying our best to solve issues that we catch. We're going to be updating this for the foreseeable future. Brotherwise has been a wonderful partner. We thank them so much for giving us the opportunity to even just bring this to you guys. We are a humble little community team that is doing this, and we are working so hard. As we said, version 13 support is coming. It is one of our major next updates that we are trying to get out there. We understand we started development on version 12, and we didn't even know when version 13 would come out. So that is, now that it is out, we are trying to switch everything over to that. There are a lot of developmental changes. It's just going to take a little bit of time. I do not have a timeline for it, but it is one of our #1 problems. And on top of that, in regards to this, we have some other things cooking, some beautification things we would like to do. As I already mentioned earlier, we would love to have an update eventually that includes the conditions doing things automatically. We want to make the roles that you see on your sheet even more intuitive. Actually, one more thing I forgot. This little icon right here is roll injury. We can roll an injury, and it will roll that injury roll. You could see the injury roll with all the extra bonuses that if you had deflect value, there's his +2 deflect. If you had other injuries, they'd apply here. He did do really well. We can even apply that injury directly to the character sheet. You'll see it's 22 days later. Sadly, the one thing we don't have automated yet is you still would have to go into the handbook, into the roll or not in the handbook, the starter rules roll table, and roll this injury effect to determine what effect is on there, or decide with your GM what the effect is, because that is also a valid strategy. But things like that, we'd like to really automate. A roll refactor. There's so many more upgrades we could see happening, and I hope you will follow us and be joining us on every step of the way. Stay invested, guys. Pun intended. We are, and we can't wait to just keep improving this system more and more. So that's it for me. I'm signing off. Have a wonderful rest of your release day. Take care. See you in the Discords.